You're listening to a podcast from the BMA.
Many UK doctors want to use their skills to help people in developing countries, but are prevented by the high costs involved. This is where the BMA can help. Applications for our Humanitarian Fund, which helps cover travel and accommodation costs, have just opened. Abby Smith, who is the Deputy Chair of the BMA's International Committee, explains more about what it offers.
This offers people working for the NHS the opportunity to go abroad and work on projects which are dear to their hearts and which will hopefully have a positive impact on the communities in which they're working, as well as having a positive impact on their careers and bringing back learning for the NHS from those experiences, and also to sometimes set up new projects. We're giving relatively small grants of up to £3,000 for incidental costs like flights and accommodation.
A grant can mean the difference between going and not going.
I was really grateful to the Humanitarian Fund for helping me out to go on one of the trips. And especially now, as I'm going to be taking out of programme experience, the financial constraints become a bit more obvious, which is why I applied for the money. So I was really grateful to get the opportunity to go out on one of the trips through that.
Without the grant from the BMA, I wouldn't have been able to go this year. And so that enthusiasm and that regeneration of passion in the team in Bolivia wouldn't have been possible. So it really did make it happen, to be honest.
That was Jonathan Fitzsimon, a GP trainee from Bristol. 2 years ago, he set up a diabetes clinic in Bolivia, which is run by Bolivian doctors and nurses. He received a grant from the Humanitarian Fund to return there in November. While he was there, he was able to measure the success of the project among the centre's first type 2 diabetes patients.
And when I looked at their results and compared their scores to when I first started with them 18 months ago, I mean, there were absolutely huge differences. The average weight loss in those 20 patients was 3.5 kilograms, and the average decrease in HbA1c levels was coming down by almost 2.5 percentage points. You can see with really simple measures that we were making a huge difference to their control of their diabetes.
Dr. Fitzsimon has also learned to speak Spanish, which has benefited his overall communication skills.
I find it difficult, and I find you have to concentrate hard when obviously having a consultation in a different language. But I find that that's really helped me because it means that I tend not to talk too much. I don't sort of use too many flowery words because I don't know them in Spanish. And when I've come back to the UK and back consulting again in English now, I do find myself trying to take some of those lessons forward and really listen very carefully to what the patient's saying to me and try to be more succinct in when I'm giving explanations about any sort of medical education or lifestyle changes in particular.
Alia Darwish, a Specialty Trainee 5 in anaesthesia in Bristol, agrees the experience overseas can enhance your skills back home. She received a grant from the fund to go to Uganda as part of a project sharing skills and experience in obs-and-gynae and anaesthetics between her trust and one in Mbarara.
We started having regular tutorials where we would invite the trainees to come for emergency drills training, particularly in obstetrics. And I took some of the anaesthetists and we did some drills training with them. And as they sort of got used to us and they realised that actually we had something interesting to teach, and then they started seeing us putting it into practice on the wards, eventually we became more accepted. And from there it was, could you teach us this? Could we do that? Could we go through this again? And having that input, they saw the juniors from another country coming in to teach them, and from there it was kind of the juniors who were kind of pushing it forward.
Glasgow GP trainee Karen Leckie used her grant to visit the jungle region of Amazonian Peru, providing essential medical services as part of a wider project. She explains some of the challenges she faced.
As a doctor, it's such a great opportunity to use what are really transferable skills in an area where you're providing something that's not there. And also there's a big sort of personal challenge in it, as well as a professional challenge in working in sort of slightly different circumstances and working across a language barrier and working in different cultural settings.
To apply for a grant from the Humanitarian Fund, go to www.bma.org.uk/Humanitarian Fund.